Christopher Spera, and this is the iTechGear Weekly, episode number 153, Not Ready for Prime Time. Recorded live Sunday, November 23rd, 2025, live from iTechGear Central. As I said, I'm Christopher Spera, the editor-in-chief and the host with the most over here at the iTechGear.org. And we've got a full crew this week, and everybody is here, and I for one am thankful. This being our Thanksgiving edition of the iTechGear Weekly. He's the editor over at iTechGear.org and formerly the contributing editor of Gear Diary and Pocket Now. That's the dulcet tones. That's Mr. Chris Gavula. How are you, sir?
I'm just asking one question. Does this make us the not ready for primetime players?
No. Unfortunately, no.
We're not quite that funny, I guess.
No, we're not quite that well off either.
We're not that well off, that's for sure. Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! So,
and you know who else is here? He's the editor over at iTechGear and the former contributing writer at Gear Diary, and currently the host of the Linux Link Tech Show, Living in the Retro Arcade podcast, and fitness for the rest of us. That is Brother Joe McLaughlin. How are you, sir?
I am doing just turkey. I can't say ducky. It's Thanksgiving week. Come on.
Well, that's
fair enough.
Fair enough there.
Yeah,
so that's awesome.
Turkey run coming up, turkey waddle, or whatever you want to call it. So
nice.
Yeah, it's my next race. So I'm all good to go for
nice.
That. And
of course, last but never ever least, it's the editor here at iTechGear.org and the former co-owner of WUGNET Publications, Dr. Mr. Larry McJunkin. How are you, sir?
I'm doing fine. Spent my entire weekend just contemplating breaking up with Google Workspace.
No.
We've been a thing. We've been a thing since 2004, but it might be time to start seeing other platforms.
I hear you. I hear you.
It's one way of looking at it, right?
Right.
It is one way of looking at it. It is. I got no way to segue into this, so I'm just going to go ahead and do it.
Why don't you just go ahead and do it?
I'm going to go ahead and do it. We're going to get started with our Apple segment. And I hear tell from a certain cult that I know of, all right, that the iPhone side button is going to be able to trigger other voice assistants. Shock, awe. Larry, what's going on?
Well, first of all, we know that Apple's not going to let this happen unless they're forced to. So that is the case.
Yeah.
First place that it is going to happen is Japan. And quite frankly, before I even say another word, I'm happy about this. I would love to go, hey, Google on the side button on my iPhone and make it really work. I mean, right now it's a whole lot better than, hey, you know who.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's Apple's laying the groundwork for this. I think, Chris, you probably looked at it, some of it in 26.2, or maybe it's just still behind the scenes.
I haven't seen it. Well, we're not in Japan, and I'm not in Europe.
Right.
Well, that's true, but they say that it's still in beta 3, contains a new. It's just not. If you look at the code, what they're saying, system voice assistant app along with code strings that are related to that side button. And Mac Rumors, who we're citing here, say they found snippets like press and hold to speak is not available, while the side button is assigned.
That's in the code, right? I haven't seen that in an app or a settings,
I haven't
choice or
into the
anything.
code either. So
I think they're saying that after Japan, it will move to EU. And then I'm hopeful that it'll someday make it to the United States. So.
It would be nice to be able to have choice.
But Japan has a thing called the Mobile Software Competition Act. And with that, it mandates that Apple open its iOS core functionality to all third-party apps, including voice assistants. So I don't know if we have any such law here that would
no,
make that
and the EU has something similar.
Yeah.
EU has something similar
so we may never see it here, folks.
Which is why it's going to Europe next. But at least Japan is small enough of a market that they should be able to go ahead and let it run there for a little bit, see how things go. Sort of tighten things up, harden it a little bit.
I would think that would help sales. I would think that's a marketing tool. I mean, it gives you another feature that you don't have.
Yeah,
Well,
but it's
especially
also
with the state of Siri too, you know?
but it's
Yeah,
also a big security hole that you've got to account for. It can be a very big security hole. You got to watch it.
it could
Anytime,
probably send some people to HR too.
Well,
anytime you open up things to the system, you've got to take
Yeah,
a lot
yeah.
more. So if I wasn't forced to it, I probably wouldn't do it either. If I was Apple,
you know,
because
I can
Got it.
totally understand that. I can totally
for
understand
good
that.
or bad. I mean, we can argue
Yeah,
that it's a good thing from a customer standpoint, but it can also be a bad thing. You open it up, there's a risk.
I agree.
What's the trade off?
I get it. I get it.
I agree. It's a potential
So,
security issue. So and potential privacy issue, depending on.
and a potential privacy issue,
But
depending
yeah,
on the hooks and all that are available. Yep.
very very
Yep.
true. And depending on what worms its way in, if you will.
Well, that's what I mean. You don't
Yeah,
know.
you
It's
don't
just
know.
another place a bad actor can access
Another
core
another
system
another
functions.
another potential vector point where they can
Well,
go ahead and get
this is
themselves.
to me the same as when we were talking about England trying to force, or the UK trying to force Apple to open up the back door
Oh yeah.
to the messages and everything else. It's like, yeah,
And that, I understand the
it's all
reasoning
the same kind
behind
of
those kinds of
challenges.
things. I
Right.
understand the reasoning
But when
behind
you
these
make
kinds of
those,
things.
Mm-hmm.
It just
me too,
bothers
me
me.
too.
It just bothers me that government does not. They don't understand the full picture,
No.
and
The
if
But
they,
even if they
buttons
were
or even driver's licenses.
yeah,
Well,
well,
but even if they were fully open and honest, and there was no, they're not going to violate anything. You're
Right.
still opening the door potentially
But
that
the
bad
thing is,
actors
and
can
though,
that's
potentially take
and
advantage
that's
the
of.
and
button's
that's
only
why.
going to allow what Apple will allow to work. So
Yeah.
security, I don't think security is going to be an issue. I think,
Well, it depends.
I
It
think,
depends.
It depends.
right.
If an assistant is able to launch apps, all it would have to do is you'd have an app, misput on in a way, or part
Right.
of a
You
browser
can do
or
that with
something like that.
Siri.
Yes and no, but
It's very limited right
them.
now.
Right.
But you really don't launch apps that way with Siri right now.
No, I mean, the thing
It's
is,
it's interesting.
I don't think it's as much as a security threat as you might think. It could
Maybe
be,
not.
but I doubt it.
Maybe.
But you
but
know what the problem is? The problem with that, Joel, you may be right. You may be right. The problem
right.
is, though, we wouldn't know until they broke it. That's
Right.
when we would learn.
Right.
You don't
And
know anything
that's too
until they
late.
break it. So I
Right.
mean,
that's
and
too
that's
late.
and that's the problem.
How many
You don't
things
know
have they
that there's a
said
bug
should be
until it shows itself.
right? How many
Right.
things have we seen already?
Right.
Oh, there's no problems. There are no problems. How many has anybody? I mean, I have to go through bi-weekly meetings to talk about security vulnerabilities and all these products. Do you know how many security vulnerabilities I deal with on things that people said, "Oh, we fixed that years ago." Yeah, now it's broken
No, you
again.
didn't.
yeah.
And here we are again because they found a new way to hack it. Well, this is just another hack vector as far as I'm concerned.
And
It
this is
just is.
exactly what I'm talking about. It's another security vector that or
Whether it's a problem on day
potential
one or not,
vulnerability.
it's another vector. It's another
Yeah.
opening.
Yeah.
So it's
It
like,
is. It is. And speaking of driver's licenses, as Brother Joel went ahead and made, this week, the state of Illinois let everybody know that their electronic driver's license that you might be able to get through Apple Wallet was available for use. And being a resident of Illinois, I went and tried to do this. The process was very similar to what you did with your passport. You took a picture of the front, took a picture of the back, held up the phone to take a live picture and do the things and all the who's-y what's-its. And like the first time that I tried to do the passport and it eventually failed. I ran into picture problems with the driver's license.
Mhm.
And now I'm sitting on a screen in Wallet that is where it is asking for a 8-digit verification code that I either will be sent or have been sent.
Right.
And I have no idea
Did
where that
as a,
where that code may come from.
well, this
Other
is what you ran
than
into with your passport. Did you get that information before from the
so
passport one?
so no. So what happened? What happened with the passport? It had initially I'd gone through a verification process, and it said we'll have to review it. And they went and they reviewed it, and they said nope, it's not you. You're gonna have to if it is, you're gonna have to try it again.
Mm-hmm.
So I went through the process with the passport again, and it worked. This time I didn't
Well,
have any problems, and it was almost instantaneous.
okay.
All right.
And the thing here with this is, it all depends on what your faith in trust is in Apple and their security. I have
Well,
zero
I've also
faith.
lost a lot of weight. I mean, I've lost
Right.
45 pounds. All right.
Yeah.
So I know my face is skinnier than the
Yeah.
picture in on my
Could
driver's
be.
license.
Yeah.
All right.
Right.
The issue though that I've got right now again is that it says, you go to you tap you'll go into wallet, you tap the plus, you tap driver's license or state ID, and it shows you Illinois, and it's got a verification, awaiting verification, and then you tap on that, and it says, please enter the 8-digit verification code that we sent you. Well,
Right.
they never told me A, that I would need a verification code, B, how that verification code would be sent to me, whether it would be sent to me via text message or via email, all right, or snail mail. I have no idea. I did, however, go through a process and I did this twice. I did it once with Gemini. I did it once with ChatGPT, and they both said effectively the same thing, is that the state of Illinois is going to send you a PIN or a verification code in regular USPS mail, and you'll have to enter that into um,
Hmm.
the wallet app to activate the license. And I'm like, okay, well, that's all nice, lovely, wonderful, and good. The big problem, however, is that wallet itself, the state of Illinois, does not send wallet a notification that says you're going to need a verification code. We're sending it to your address of record noted on your driver's license. If you reside there, you'll get it. All right. Or something to that effect. That's the problem that I've got. I have no idea how I'm really supposed to get this particular verification code.
Almost sounds like snail mail to me.
That's what it sounds like to me too.
Yeah, I would think. And it's supposed to be anywhere between 5 to 10 business days. All right.
Mm.
That
So anyway,
smacks of USPS also.
well, that's what ChatGPT and Gemini said. All right. You should get it in the next 5 to 10 business days if they're going to send it. Well, if they don't send it, I'm afraid to go up to the DMV and go, okay, where do I get the verification code from? Because they don't know their butts from a hole in the ground. All right. Unfortunately, the DMV is legendary in all states. They've got some of the most least intelligent people in the world working there. I have no idea what's supposed to happen with this.
It wasn't that many years ago. I did that back in the state of Alabama, went through this process.
Yeah.
And it was still a paper process. You couldn't have done any of this.
Yeah.
And they're still, by the way, they're still not on the list, by the way, kids.
Yeah.
So
state of Alabama.
Doesn't surprise me.
And before it gets to Tennessee, they'll take my driver's license away from me for old age.
Right. Yeah.
Well, what's funny about all of this though is that I did this on the first day that it became available, which was just this past Monday, all right, or a week from tomorrow, as of this recording. And I got stuck on a wait list. They said we'll send you an email when your turn comes up. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I sat there and I put my phone down, went back to work, and about maybe 2-3 hours later, I got the email. Your turn. Go ahead and go through the process in Wallet. and now I'm waiting. So,
And now you're waiting.
and now I'm waiting, and that's awesome. But also, it's interesting though that Apple Insider is saying that there are two other states that are about to jump into the digital end of this pool, and that's the state of Arkansas and the state of Virginia. They're supposed to also jump on here, and that'll bring us to almost close to half, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
really? I didn't think there's that many yet.
You know, I
it's
thought it
getting
was.
there.
And right now, but the thing is, right now it's only an Apple thing.
Yeah,
They're the only ones that have it. Google doesn't have it, and
Not
you
yet.
have to have utter trust in what Apple does.
Well, you
and
don't entirely, because they don't have it
No,
doesn't
but
go to their
Apple's
server. It
proven
doesn't go to their
that
servers.
wallet can handle it. That's the
It's
difference.
that's
but
what
they've
you have to have
proven it
faith
to
in.
you. They haven't proven it to me yet, Larry.
But
And
the
that's
point
all
is,
I'm going to
it's-
Well,
say.
it-
do
it's
you
kept in
use
the
Apple
No,
Pay?
they haven't proven it to me either. I'm just saying they've proven it to the
Right.
governments. That's all.
Do you use
Well,
Apple
then.
Pay though? Do you use that?
Absolutely. All day long.
Occasionally. That's
All
a
right.
little
Well,
different,
your
though.
banking information is in Apple Pay, which is in Apple Wallet.
I'm fine
right?
with that.
That's quite
But
different.
it's
Safer,
though.
it's safer
it's-
than your credit card.
Yeah.
But
It really
here's
is.
what I've said. Here's what I said. Faith or not, and faith in them. Even if you carry, your card versions of these things, and
Right.
you have to,
Right.
I don't know that it's any more secure, because
That's
your
right.
cards
It's not.
broadcast. Anybody with an RF reader nearby, not RF reader, RFID reader, they can pick it up unless you put it in an RFID wallet.
Yep.
To protect it.
Yep.
I'm going to tell you right now, if you're using your passport when you travel, even if you use it domestically, you have to scan it. And you usually have to take it out of the RFID folder to scan it. At that period of time, somebody could get you. So what's the difference between that and dropping a card? People do it all the time.
Yep.
It's
the thing
very
is,
easy.
Is in that, and that's not what I'm concerned about. The losing
I know.
the wallet.
I know
thing.
you are.
I'm more like, okay, I don't have my driver's license with me, and I don't have my passport with me, and all of a sudden my phone's out of juice. What the hell am I gonna do?
Why? I guess I would say, why would you travel without them? But I would always have paper. Even when I travel, I don't trust my digital boarding passes either. Again, I don't care what platform it's on. I carry the paper ones as well, just in case.
I have the electronic stuff, but I do also carry, and I will also carry the paper just in case.
That's what I think.
Even if you were to try to fly on the digital passport, all right, and you are going to a place that does not accept them, all right, you're gonna be able to use.
You need them anyway.
You're gonna be able to use it, maybe on your departure, but not on your return trip. And if you don't have both, you're gonna get stuck.
That's right.
All right.
Yeah. No, that's absolutely true.
So
that's absolutely true.
I mean, and that's why I don't even toy with it, because what's the point? Until they force me, I'm not even gonna.
Fair enough.
Well, I've got it because I wanted to go and see the process and figure out, if this is something that you could use or not. I know it is usable at both Chicago O'Hare and Chicago Midway airports. Both of them should be usable as identification to board a plane, especially if you have the new verified ID, or the whatever they call it, right? With the star,
Real ID.
Real ID. Thank you. Whether you have Real ID or not, I mean, you're going to be able to you should be able to use both to fly. So I pull out my phone. I've got my phone, or I've got the actual documents with me. So
personally, when I fly, I use my passport, even if I'm flying domestically.
Yeah.
I've been doing that for years, and I continue to do that.
Yeah, I prefer to fly with the passport. It's just easier.
Yeah, I've just found it to be the better way to do it for me personally.
Yeah.
Having traveled internationally, I can tell you that I know we're talking about Europe's changing their standards very shortly here. So you're going to require a visa as you come in of sorts, and England's requiring a similar thing as you come in. So just having a passport's not going to be enough anymore.
Right.
I do that some of the traveling I did. I went in and it's like literally the same
So
thing.
if you're
Same thing as here.
vacationing, you have to have a vacation visa. You got to apply for the visa
It's
before
not
you.
exactly that complicated, but yeah, you have to apply for it. Your travel agent should tell you. Your airline should tell you. I know that my airline, when I fly, says, "Here's your document checklist before you leave. You
Yeah.
must have all these things in order. And oh, by the way, you can't return unless you have these other things." And they list everything for you. I mean, the airline tells me what I have to have before I even take off. So
Oh, there you go.
I think you're going to see more of that. It's going to get very complicated over the next few years.
It is.
And so, yeah, we're going to have to. So this electronic stuff is only going to make it worse or more complicated for us. So the fact that we're changing things internally in the country, on top of all this, I don't know. It's going to be an interesting few years for travel.
Yeah, it will be an interesting few years, especially with some of the changes that are coming to iOS 27.
But sometimes we can get stability in some places.
Sometimes, and because that's what iOS 27 is supposed to focus on, Chris. So why don't you give us the straight poop on that?
Well, that pretty much is the straight poop on it. Is that they're going to do what they did with Mac OS a number of years ago, and they're going to pick a version
right?
With Snow Leopard, and which was what 2009 or so, I think.
Yeah,
I was
going to say 2009.
And they basically said, we're not going to really add a lot of features. We're just going to do kind of stability fixes and updates and patches. Now, that doesn't mean there are not going to be any new features. We've seen that before, and there's always a few little things that get thrown in. It did with Snow Leopard, and even when they've claimed they're going to do stability things, they throw a few things at you too.
They toss you a boner or two. I had heard that with iOS 27 that there was supposed to be some AI improvements.
No, I think what it's going to be is so depending on who you believe, we're going to see the Siri AI or whatever the enhancement AI feature set appear in either 26.4 or 26.5. Okay. It's going to be one of those two. I suspect what 27 will end up being is cleanups and repairs and improvements on those features. So it's not going to necessarily be new features. It might be an enhancements or improvements
it may also be release of delayed features in case they have problems with any of the stuff.
I would say that's absolutely probably true.
So
yep, I would say that's
Chris
absolutely
G,
a
I would
possibility.
side with you on that because Apple's said when these things will happen, and they can't afford to wait till 27, iOS 27, to launch them. They can't do it.
Well,
agreed.
And again, everything says 26.4.
I think you're right.
Yeah. So we'll see which one. It's again, if it doesn't show up in 26.4, I wouldn't be too excited. It may show up in 26.5. Both of which should pop up before we see 27 probably next June, which is when we'll start to see 27. So yeah, I think we're going to see some. I would not be surprised, guys, if you start to see some big things happen just after the new year, because everybody is off or going to be off in December or a lot of December, so you're going to start to see things roll again in the early part of the year. I'm sure that'd be my 2 cents worth. We're on, by the way, so folks know we're on the 26.2 betas right now. Yep. I would expect to see 26.2 in a final release very soon. I wouldn't think it'd be long.
Actually, weren't the beta 3s released?
We did get the beta 3s.
Yeah.
So, and this is on iOS, iPad OS, and Mac OS, and Vision OS, and Apple TV OS, and all those flavors.
Yes.
Watch OS.
Yep. So
it should be soon.
It should be soon. There's probably, they've done up to 7 betas in the past.
They have, but they don't always. So
they don't
you
always.
Never know.
It's usually the OS starts to ripen usually at about beta 4. So
yeah, we're starting to see some of the later numbers in the version numbers. The longer there's a code with the version number in the version numbers. If you look at the about menus, and they're getting to that where they're close to the release, the release numbers on those. And keep in mind, 26.1 didn't run 7 betas. It didn't run that many.
No.
So I wouldn't be surprised if we see it soon.
And that'll be nice.
And so 26.4, 26.5, they're not that far down the road, guys.
No, it's not. So all that.
There you go.
Beta goodness. Here we go.
Stability goodness.
Stability goodness would be wonderful. So,
that's a theory anyway. It's still a rumor, but that's a theory.
Yeah. You know what I'm going to do though?
What are you going to do?
I'm going to move us to our mobile Linux segment because there's some really
I like that.
interesting things that are going on here.
You can
There was a
feel
very
the movement.
Yes, maybe.
Guys, I will, before you start there, I want to point out that this is the first time in a long time we haven't had to spend an hour on the Apple segment.
This is true. This is true. I was, as I was pulling together the show notes earlier today, I'm
Technically,
looking at
this one
I'm going,
could fit in the Apple segment too.
Well,
Sort
technically
of.
it could. Technically, it could. Sort of
Well, then
could.
let's
Maybe
just say it makes
kind
a
of.
nice bridge and move on.
It is. So
It's a nice bridge.
which is why I stuck it at the front here. So
Well, there you go.
So yes, the Google Pixel 10 can now airdrop content, be it of videos or photos or files, to iPhones.
So they say.
So they say, Joel. So what's going on?
Yeah, so Google has updated the Pixel 10. So the feature was rolled out on November 20th. As a response to years of complaints, an update improves the interaction between Android and Apple devices. So you can send all the typical things that you can send via AirPlay from a Pixel 10.
Okay.
So,
and it's just and it's limited to just the Pixel 10 series, right?
The 10, the 10 Pro, the 10 Pro XL, and 10 Fold.
And there's one other limitation that says that you have to set your contact open to all for 10 minutes. You can't limit it to your contacts only.
Okay, so
the
it's
Apple user has to do that.
The Apple user has to.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Right.
Yep.
So
okay.
Now I'm going to propose something that y'all should have known about before this. There's a program called Local Send. It's available. You can go to localsend.org. You can also look it up in both iTunes App Store as well as the Google Play Store.
Mm-hmm.
But you go to Local Send and you essentially get the same thing for any Android device or Windows device or Linux device.
So can I use
device.
The question that I have here is, can I use Local Send to airdrop things to an iPhone that does not have Local Send on it?
You cannot. So
or a Mac.
Right. So you would have to load the Local Send application on
both
your
endpoints.
Phone,
okay.
On both endpoints, right?
Okay.
So
yeah,
but Local Send, it's really handy. Like I can take a picture on my Pixel phone and immediately
it shows
get
up
it
on your
onto my
iPhone.
Mac. Yep.
I guess I mean I like that they did this, but I don't like having to put third-party apps that access system utilities.
But this isn't the Google
one.
one. This is a separate.
No, I get that. I get
Right.
that. But I don't like
Right.
adding third-party apps to do stuff
Just
that I think should be O-level
Don't
stuff.
confuse the two. This is not
I
Local
totally
Send is
agree.
not Google. Okay.
I know that. I'm not saying they are. What I'm saying is it's a third-party app doing this. And I don't like third-party apps.
But that's not what the
into
Google
system-level
Pixel
stuff.
feature is. So
I understand that. The Google Pixel feature does it at the OS level, but that's the operating system manufacturer coming up with this. That's different to me than the third party doing it.
See, this
I don't like
and
third parties doing it.
I believe that this ability should this interactivity or interoperability should be on both.
I would agree.
Should be there for both, regardless of platforms. I should be able to airdrop somebody something.
Well, and the Google one doesn't make you do anything on the Apple side.
Right.
It just works.
No.
It just works.
No.
Because
Incorrect.
Why?
You have
you don't have to install an app.
We just said it. No, we had to make it. You have to open. You have to make it.
You have to,
but you often have to do. But you sometimes have to do that.
The iPhone user has to change a setting on their phone in order to allow
all
I
contacts
understand
as
that.
opposed
but
to
be fair,
just your favorite.
Most of us, like myself, I leave mine locked to everybody until I want to use it anyway.
Right.
So it doesn't really change my behavior. Whereas this other thing requires me to install something and run this app in order to share something
on both ends.
On both ends.
So
it's a little more complex for people, but
it
again,
is.
and I'm not a fan of third-party stuff requiring to do that. It should be in the OS if you're going to do it. And the Google one is not complete, like you just said. It's limited in a number of ways.
It's just one set of phones too. So I mean,
and it's only their phones, which I also have an objection to. Google keeps doing that. I understand they need to differentiate themselves, but really, guys, put it in the OS. If you're going to do it, don't limit it.
Yeah, and it's be different if it was reliant on some
Mhm.
sort of hardware piece, which
Well,
Apple
I
uses
understood
for
it.
excuse on their phones too. But
I agreed with Google when they did things like put some of their AI features in their Photos app, but didn't include it on
Right.
other platforms. I get that. This is an OS level functionality. It really
Yeah.
ought to be
there's
across the board
no
in
special
Android.
equipment required.
Right.
Right. And this is something that I think should be in base Android, available to everybody. And
That's
I
what I'm
truly
saying.
believe,
Yes.
I think it will.
that there should be little to no restrictions. It should, it's I hear you. It's on the Google Pixel 10 series for now. I'd love to see Google make this part of
They really should, don't you think?
Android so that it works, across all
But
devices. But
by the same token, the danger when they do that, I'm gonna play devil's advocate a little bit here, is they're going to get
it's another
accused of
endpoint,
Sherlocking.
right? It's
They're going to
another
get
vector
they're going to
point.
get accused of Sherlocking because they're going to take out these other players, who are already doing this in the third party.
All right.
So
Well,
they're going to get accused of that.
all I'm going to say is this,
Folks, you don't know, Sherlocking
is
was
local send charging for the app?
No, it's
They
free.
don't have a case.
Do they have like an advertisement or something they show you when you launch it or anything?
Nope.
They don't have a case.
And they don't have a case then. But what I was going to say, so folks who don't know, Sherlocking is Apple basically subsumed a thing called Sherlock, for lack of a better description. They created a feature that kind of overrode it.
Here.
Yeah.
So that's why it's called Sherlocking.
Local send is available under the Apache 2 license. So it is open source.
It is open sourced. Okay.
So that is why it's pretty freaking awesome.
Well, yeah, I have a feeling because it is open source, it might be something that might be easily adaptable to both operating systems.
Yep. Any operating system for that matter. I mean, and it has. I mean, it's got.
But basically, it's just basically developing its own share mechanism in the background,
right?
Rather than utilizing any of the ones that are built in.
Right.
So you just uses resources you already have, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, whatever.
Yeah.
So I mean,
gotcha.
I mean,
nice.
and that's the thing.
But you got to have but you got to have all the pieces there. I get you.
Android, not only is it available on Google Play, but it's also available on F-Droid too, the F-Droid App Store.
Awesome.
It says it's available at the Amazon App Store, but I thought that was gone.
I thought that was shut down. Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah.
I think you're absolutely right with that.
Oh, wait a minute.
Okay.
It's not. No. Well, you can put it on your Fire devices too.
Oh,
Fire stuff. So it'll work on on those abominations because the Fire tablets are ass.
Fair enough.
Sorry.
Fair enough.
I have one. Oh God, is it awful? It's so
they're terrible.
Fire tablet is horrible.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
I absolutely hated it.
But I mean, the thing is it's not Android that's fucking it up. It's Android. Sorry for dropping an F-bomb, but gee, many Christmas isn't bad.
Yeah, well.
Chris will fix it in editing.
Yeah, right. Yeah. But
anyway,
so
it's better than
moving on.
Speaking of
F-bombs
and his crap and his crap.
Yeah.
Let's talk about more.
Did you guys hear that Jeff Bezos has started a new company called Project Prometheus, and it's an AI startup, and he is a co-CEO. Larry.
CEO.
This is just what the world needs. Yet another AI company.
No.
This one is initially, as you said, being called Project Prometheus. Not that that'll be its final name, but that's what it is now. And it's focusing specifically on AI that will help the world build and engineer and build better computers, automobiles, and spacecraft. Not airplanes, but spacecraft.
Okay, maybe that's where I'm getting the confusion here because I'm seeing it also Project Prometheus also tied to a NASA project.
Right, yeah. And it's financed partially by Bezos, of course, the previous founder of
billion. 6.2,
he's throwing his money and his time into this AI startup that he will, as you said, be a co-CEO. Coming out of the gate with $6.2 billion in funding, making it one of the most well-financed startups ever.
ever.
Well, of course, it's going to succeed somewhat if it's got that much money. It'll take them that long to burn through it. This is
Oh, don't don't challenge him
maybe
because
we can
I've
help
seen
them. Maybe we
I've
can help
seen
them there.
startups burn
Larry,
through a lot
I
of
was going to say,
money.
Larry, you underestimate the capabilities of startup companies doing stupid things with stupid
Oh
amounts of
no,
money.
I've
Yes,
seen too many tailspins in my life. Hey,
agreed.
this new company is going to the big deal here is this company is going to try and carve out a niche in a world and in a race with industry giants like Google, Meta, Microsoft, pioneering companies like OpenAI and Anthropic. And
Uh,
it's going to have a hard row to hoe, really. I don't care how
it,
much money it
it's
has.
really late. It's
You've
really
got to
late to the
catch
game.
Yeah,
up with OpenAI. That's a hard nut to crack.
that's going to be a hard
Uh,
nut to crack because
Now,
they
granted,
are.
they've hired several of the top people from these companies
Yeah,
to help them
Yeah,
out, but
yeah.
still,
that's
he's
a
got a
tough row to hoe.
co-founder and a co-chief executive. I can't pronounce his name, but I think it would be Bik
Vic Bajaj.
Bajaj, who's a
Well,
physicist and a chemist, and
Mm-hmm.
he's an ex-partner, sort of. I don't know, a friend at least of Sergey Brin at Google's
Right,
X.
right.
So he was part of the old original Moonshot Factory, if you remember that.
Yeah.
I don't know. He's co-founded a couple of companies himself that have done well, actually. So he's obviously a known entity. They've got about 100 people so far. They've stolen them from OpenAI, DeepMind, Meta,
Yep.
um, Google.
Yep. So they've got a nifty little brain trust, right? Um,
Right.
and they're hoping that the 6.2 billion dollars in funding will give them an advantage in the expansive race to build AI technologies, right? So this is something that they are hoping will it will
And
last
these aren't just
and B, it
everyday
will be.
chickens that they're hiring away. Two of the researchers from DeepMind won Nobel Peace Prizes in chemistry for their work on AlphaFold. So
Yeah. So
pretty good,
yeah, not a peace
pretty
prize,
good
but a
company to
Nobel
be
Prize in
in.
chemistry. So
Yeah.
yeah. So that's cool. So what this is something that's we're definitely going to need to watch, right? We're definitely going to need to keep an eye out for Project Prometheus and see what they come up with and where they go with this. I have a feeling that
You know,
it's going to be interesting.
I have this problem with Jeff, and I shouldn't because he's been very successful. But to me, he looks a lot like Frank Perdue. But both of them were hugely successful. Think
Yeah,
about it.
yeah,
One of them sold 14 gazillion million chickens and
yeah,
got rich, and the other one started Amazon. I mean, who
yeah.
can argue with that?
You
So,
can't, you can't.
no,
You know.
whatever.
Well, so and speaking of utter failure,
Yeah.
you know, our next item up for a bid here
oh gosh.
is the
Fortunately, this one didn't last that long.
no,
But yeah.
thankfully it didn't. But Cloudflare suffered a major outage on
Yes.
Tuesday of this past week, taking down ChatGPT, X, Spotify, and a couple of other things. So Joel,
A whole
what
bunch of
happened?
other things. So,
What happened?
all right. So to kind of cover this, I'm going back to the Cloudflare blog, which we probably should also include in the show notes. I'll
Sure.
put that in there.
Thank you.
So it was not caused indirectly or directly or indirectly by cyber attack or malicious activity of any kind. It was triggered by a change to one of their database system's permissions, which caused the database to output multiple entries into a feature file used by their bot management system. This feature file in turn doubled in size. Larger than expected feature file was then propagated to all machines that make up our network. Software running on these machines to route traffic across the network reads this feature file to keep the bot management system up to date with ever-changing threats. And the software had a limit in the size of the feature file that was below its doubled size, and that caused the software to fail. They
And it just
initially
went
suspected.
hack.
Yep. And they initially suspected they were initially suspecting a hyperscale DDoS attack, which that's not what it was. It was that feature.
As
file.
long as look, I don't have a problem necessarily. I don't necessarily
Right.
have a problem with outages when it's something like this.
Right.
Okay. If it's some level of hack or
And it
malware,
wasn't stupid like
Well,
a DNS.
yeah.
But I do still have a problem with this, because this is why we cannot rely on the cloud to do things,
Mhm.
because we all had things going on in the middle of the workday that broke
Yep.
and stopped working. That
True.
meant I couldn't do my work
I will
in some
say-
cases.
I will say
That's
this.
That's not good. That's not okay.
The article
No.
itself said ChatGPT, X, and Spotify, but it also impacted. I work with First Form, and the First Form app, which is an app I use for logging my food, and other things. That was down.
We
something
lost
else
a
was
tool
down,
called
too.
Zendesk, which is a desktop
Yeah.
Oh,
support.
Zendesk is huge.
I had
we
one
lost
client
Zendesk.
who used the Cloudflare CDN as part of their IDP, so that was down.
Yeah, Content
well,
Delivery Network,
yeah.
CDN. Yeah.
And what doesn't happen is, like, for example, I launched the ChatGPT app while this was going on because I'd heard ChatGPT was broken. I said, well, let's see how it's broken. And I launched it. No sooner did I open it, it says, please remove your Cloudflare block in order to continue.
Yeah.
What does that even
Yeah.
mean? As I'm a customer, what does that mean? It
Yeah.
means nothing. This is why I have a problem with this, because as a customer, I had no idea what was going wrong.
You had no idea what Cloudflare is, because a lot of people
Right.
will
Yeah.
will see this message and
They have
not
no idea
know
what it is.
what
Yeah.
Cloudflare is. They're like, "What's Cloudflare? I don't use Cloudflare. What the hell is that?"
But just so folks know, this is a component that basically keeps a lot of your online services working, and it sort of
Yeah.
interfaces a lot of them.
Right.
It interfaces between them and all that kind of good stuff.
And you're absolutely right when you say this is the big problem that you have with cloud-based
Sure.
services. Anything that relies on streaming or the internet in order to provide you with a service. All right,
Very
whether that is ChatGPT or Spotify or Apple Music or X or OneDrive or whatever it is. All right.
Whatever you need, right?
Whatever it is that you're looking for, whatever service that you've paid for, whatever service that you need in order
Absolutely true. If it's not ubiquitous, which it's not,
and if it's not,
at least meeting 5 nines.
Yeah.
And it's not, guys. Today it's not.
No.
Today cloud services do not meet 5 nines.
No, and that
uptime.
meaning 99.999% uptime.
Yep. So it doesn't meet that.
It's pretty close to it, but it's not quite there yet.
It's not there. No, it's not. It's not that close. It depends. Let me rephrase that. It depends on the service you're talking about.
True.
Well, we'll be talking about another service later that definitely doesn't meet those numbers.
No, that's true.
So
that's true.
But the point is, yeah, I still don't feel comfortable with 100% with cloud, and I tend to back things up locally and keep copies of everything locally because I don't trust it
anyway.
I think so. I think it is anyway. Even if you did trust it and believe in it, 100%. Yeah, I would do that anyway. Multiple places, geodiversity, all those kinds of things are things that protect you and save you in the event of a problem.
Right.
But even
assuming it isn't all a big EMP that takes everything out. Assuming that isn't what the case. So
yeah. And don't know that it wasn't, but even still, you
don't know what it was.
You don't know what it was. So
what do we?
But we've been talking about that particular problem for years.
So let's move on. So give us some good news, Larry. Give us some good news.
Yes,
Larry,
I do.
I have some good news. I have a real treat for our listening audience today, actually.
Well, what is
earlier today, in preparation for the broadcast tonight, I thought maybe our listening audience might like to hear Gemini's own story about this new Google Gemini 3 model number. So I spoke with Gemini this afternoon, literally, about this new model. And I kind of a brief interview.
What did it say, Larry?
Well, I'm right from the horse's mouth. Specifically, I asked Gemini. So, are you now Gemini 3, the newest AI bot from Google? Great question, Larry. See, Gemini already knows me. It really does. Great question, Larry. Actually, the version of the model number that's powering me right now is Gemini 2.5 Flash, the base model, which is optimized for speed and efficiency on the web. However, Google has recently announced and started rolling out the newest generation, Gemini 3.0 Pro, which is the most powerful version of the new generation. And Gemini 2.5 continued with, to obtain access to Gemini 3, users with premium subscriptions like yours, Larry, often get priority access or higher usage limits for the most capable models like 3.0 Pro. While the core logic of my conversational flow comes from Gemini 2.5, continuous updates mean that my performance benefits from ongoing improvements and training using Gemini 3. So, well, thank you, Gemini 2.5 or 3 or whichever you are. Oh, one more question. And this next response, folks, demonstrates the brutal honesty of large language models. Gemini, was it just coincidence that my Google Workspace subscription price was increased right after the Gemini 3 debut? No, Larry, that was definitely not a coincidence. Google officially integrated its Gemini AI features into the core Google Workspace business and enterprise plans and simultaneously announced a price increase for all those plans. Very brutally honest, even coming from a bot created by Google. So, folks, basically, yes, there is a new Gemini 3, but no, not everybody's going to have direct access to it. And apparently, it'll only kick in when 2.5 doesn't have an adequate answer or when Gemini 3 deems it necessary to intervene. And hey, wait a minute, I'll be right back. There's a white car in my driveway. It's got a big G on it.
Yeah. Well,
All
you know,
done.
what
I don't
else
know.
Now,
is
according to my
that seems like
possible?
that seems like a really long-winded way to just say no.
Well,
Yeah, right.
Okay.
potentially, but I do want to say that you can specify the engine that you use. All right.
Yeah.
There is
If
a way.
you have the right license.
If you well,
And I do.
there.
Pay me.
Joel does.
Well, hold
I do.
hold on. You're right. Okay, you're right. For those folks that don't have a premium subscription, they likely have access to the 2.5 flash, which is the right, but they may also have access to a deeper thinking model, like a 2.5 thinking
That'll
model.
take longer. Correct.
It'll take longer to get your answer, but you may get a more thorough answer or a more detailed answer from that. All right.
Hey, are you Gemini 3?
Anyway, so I know that
It
I
said it
have
before.
access to Gemini. I know I have access to Gemini 3 and I've been using it and I've been very, very pleased with.
But you're paying for it.
Including Nano
Well, I
Banana.
get it because I've got Google Workspace,
Yeah,
right?
and I
You
got
pay
Google
for
Blend
it.
subscription.
Yeah, I get it
Right.
because I'm paying for the Google Workspace.
And December 21st, you'll be paying more for that.
Thank you, Larry. Appreciate
welcome.
that.
Thanks, Google. Appreciate it.
Yes. So, but I hear that Gemini 3 is also going to help improve the performance of Android Auto as well. And I know that Artie
I
Betty
hope so.
and Carrie Wan from ZDNet.
I think all it's going to do really is just bring a natural conversational voice to the assistant. That's what I read.
Or at least make it as good as it was before, because it used to, like, I'd be driving on the road and I would come up with some stupid question and I would hit the button and say, what does blah 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 mean and blah blah blah, and then it used to just tell me, but now, like, for example, I would say how far, like, one question I said this weekend was, how far is Mount Rainier from me? And then it says, navigating to Mount Rainier. I'm like, no.
You know, well, let me add another layer of complexity to that conversation, because I would agree it would be nice if it was in there. But here's the thing: on a car like I have, the whole underlying operating system is actually Google Automotive, right?
Right.
It is Google based.
Right.
You run Android Auto on top of all that. I'm going to tell you right now, the damn thing gets very confused as to which navigation thing it's using and which messaging thing it should be using. it gets very messed up at times. So when you
Gotta be a
push the
Cadillac
button,
thing.
you think you're no, it's not. It's an Android Automotive.
That
I'm sorry,
doesn't happen to
it's a Google
mine.
Automotive thing. You're not
Yeah.
running Google Automotive as your underpinning on your car.
I've got a Traverse, 2022 Traverse. So I probably
That
am,
is not
but-
running that. That is not what it
Okay.
runs.
Right.
That
You
this
oh,
is a
that's
newer,
right. You already upgraded your car. Okay.
That's right. So it's a different operating system,
Yeah.
running now.
Yeah.
And so the problem is Google has to really do a better job of either integrating or dissecting those two from each other, because right now it gets very confused sometimes. So I hope they improve those things as they go along. That's kind of my hope.
Agreed.
Well, we already know GM's gonna
Agreed.
screw it up. But anyway.
Generally speaking, though, Gemini is now available for Android Auto, replacing Google Assistant. It's going to go ahead and bring, like you guys said, those natural language capabilities.
Sure.
You should be able to speak to it and get in a natural language with all the stutters and and that you desire. All right, and it should still do what you've asked it to do. And then you'll have a couple different ways of initiating Gemini in the car. You can add local stops. You can go ahead, send and edit messages, and then you should be able to better yourself while you drive.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Joe, actually, you
learn
do have
something
it.
new while you drive.
I do have what?
2022 Traverse is built, the infotainment system is built on the underlying Google platform.
Oh, good for it then. Okay.
It doesn't.
I didn't know
I don't
that.
have a problem with any of it.
Google told me.
Yeah. I don't have a problem with anything on my car for the most
But I'll
part.
bet Chris's is more updated and modern. Maybe that's the difference.
Probably. But,
Yeah, Google Automotive on mine is actually Android 12 based.
Right.
You could-
I have
you
more
could see
problem with
underpinnings.
OnStar's crappity crap.
Oh,
what was it? The app. I'm trying to think what happened. Okay, you know how you log into your car, Chris? So like it has, and well, for some reason it wasn't letting me, and it was, I'd say enter your OnStar blah 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 and blah blah blah, and I did that and it wouldn't work and it wouldn't work and it wouldn't work and I ended up calling support and it wouldn't work, so I was just using Android Auto straight up without having any login, and then finally I got it to work. I don't know what the hell happened, but hey. But now, granted, you gotta think now. It's not a fact that mine might be more not as up to date because it gets over the air updates. So, but anywho, but I generally
what's your core navigation app on your car? The built-in one.
It could be the built-in one, Chevy Maps Plus, if possible.
Yeah. So the big difference. Yeah, and it was based on Here Maps. That was what it was always based on. The problem is with the new one, it's Google Maps. So it doesn't know which Google Maps it's talking to sometimes. And that's where it gets confused. That's where it gets goofy.
Yeah.
It's not the Google Maps from your phone. If you run Android Auto and Google Maps, it's a different one. So that's
right.
That's
and
some
they
of the
don't talk, and those systems don't talk to each other.
No.
So that's where the confusion comes in.
Right. So you gotta be very careful at what works and what doesn't work. It's more confusing right now. I think it'll get better. I think they're going to improve it.
Well,
that's the thing to keep in mind.
They're going to have
my main complaint is that they took the Weather Channel app off of it.
They did. They absolutely did.
And that's and when I reset everything, I got it temporarily back, but then it went away.
So I'm glad to see all these things, all these improvements and changes, but I hope they start to get these integrate. They have integration problems just like Apple has integration problems, and it's all the car manufacturers.
Sure.
You guys know
Chris,
that.
you're absolutely right, because they took it off of Brenda's Lexus too. And I think it has to do, it's a carriage thing, just like it's a carriage license problem, but they just don't want to pay the car makers what they're asking.
Yeah.
So, but there's other bad news and other fronts, isn't there, Chris?
Yeah, there is. Unfortunately, and this is going to close our mobile Linux segment, but apparently there is an issue. Verizon is beginning some mass layoffs, and it's probably one of the largest layoffs that they've ever done. So, what's going on with this, Chris?
Well, I mean, as I said, the title kind of says it all, right? There's they're doing mass layoffs. They're going to lay off 13,000 people, give or take, out of 100,000 people. That's a huge amount to
That's
get rid of.
10%.
That's 13%, 14%.
13%. Yeah.
That's a lot of people to get let go. And what's interesting is, and remember what we talked about, I think we talked last week about Verizon thinks that they need to improve their customer support in order to retain people.
No.
But you're firing a bunch of people while you're doing this. And they think they're going to rely more on AI. That's their whole get you, got you, good you kind of thing. That's what they've been telling people.
Well, the article didn't necessarily say that, but yeah.
Sure they did. They actually did say that in the article.
They did.
They did say that in the article.
They did.
It's preparing. They've also created a $20 million reskilling career transition fund for impacted employees, aimed at preparing them for the age of AI.
Yeah, but they're saying that because that's what they're going to do to let go of these people.
Right.
They're going to leverage AI. That's all that says to me.
Yeah.
So
and honestly,
and by the way, AI in contact center space is a huge thing right now. I can guarantee you. So that doesn't surprise me at all.
No, it doesn't surprise me either, and it really sort of bothers me that again, this is another area of impact that's going to be affected by the application of this technology. You're removing the human factor from this, and I don't know, but I don't care how intelligent that system is. They're not human, and they aren't going. It's not the same. It's not.
And we're hitting it all the time now. We see it all the time when we call contact centers. I will say that's part of the business I'm in. It's part of it. Is contact center work, and I will tell you that like one of the number one problems we run into with the customers is that they never have enough agents. So their contact center queues back up and back up and back up. And we keep saying you need to have more agents. And they're always looking for a technology solution to the fact that they don't have enough people answering the phones. They're always looking for that. So having said that, AI is the way they're going with all of this. They think this is going to be their next big set of solutions. When really, I think, and I think we all kind of agree that you got to have that real personal touch. The AI stuff, it gets you only so far, and it doesn't get you as far as you think it does. So I'm a little disappointed, but that's what Verizon is doing. I'm going to guess that's going to be likely a big area they're going to hit because it's a big area for everybody.
Right.
But there you go. That's what they're doing. 13,000 people, 13% plus of their workforce. And it's and they're not going to be the last, guys. They're not going to be the last.
No, they
guarantee
aren't.
it.
At least not until the AI bubble hits.
First,
Trust me.
Fair
it's
enough.
happening. It's gonna happen.
Yeah. It's interesting.
So there was a movie out with Matt Damon in it where Matt Damon, Glenn Close, and a couple of other folks where this was all future based. There was a space station. And a habitat in a space station where all the rich people lived and all the people down Earth was a shithole, right? And I remember a scene where Matt Damon is sitting there talking to this robotic parole officer, all right, who just will not. It's not in their programming to be empathetic. It's not in their programming to be. To listen. They're just following a set of rules and instructions, and that's it. And there's the human factor, like you said, Chris, is completely missing. And without that human factor, you're not going to be able to deal well.
Well, I'll be honest with you. When I call these things and I get these things, and I can tell right away that I'm talking to an AI bot of some kind.
Yep.
I'm actually get angrier faster.
Yeah.
And more frustrated with these systems faster. My patience is just not there with them. Whereas if I'm talking to a real person, I might try to give them some benefit of the doubt. So I don't know that they're necessarily doing themselves a favor either, going this route.
I don't think that they are.
Yeah, people are confused by them too because I have the unfortunate misfortune of my mobile phone number, my cell number is very, very close to the Columbus Water Department meter replacement program number. It's got two numbers transposed. You screwed up, you call me instead. because that happens all the time, I use the screening feature. Thank you, Google AI. And they get confused as heck. But the
Right.
nice thing is I never talk to people because they'll say, "Oh, water meter," and I'm like, I swipe the thing over. You have it say, "Sorry, you've got a wrong number," and then they hang up, and then they call me back, and then I block them.
Yeah. So the movie that I was referring
So
to is
all that
called.
takes your time, and it shouldn't have to. That's the
Yeah.
I
problem.
Yeah,
agree.
the movie that I was referring to is called Elysium. It was
Oh yeah, I
released in
remember it.
2013. Matt Damon, Jodie Foster. It wasn't Glenn Close. It was Jodie Foster. Um,
Okay.
Alice Braggs, Diego Luna, etc.
So
Number of folks. But yeah, no, I mean this movie shows it
it was
very
actually a
well.
good movie, but
Yeah, it
I
was.
know what you're saying.
So
So
anyway, so that
okay.
is the end of our mobile Linux segment, and we're going to go ahead and get into our Windows segment yet next, but we're going to do it right after this brief message. Hi, this is Christopher Spera from iTechGear.org and the iTechGear Weekly, and I want to say 5 years. We've been at this for 5 years, and boy, we could really use your help. I know that you've probably been listening maybe for a week or two now, and you've heard me say this more than once. If you feel like you're getting something out of this particular podcast, boy, we really would appreciate a donation of any size, of any type, of any kind, for as often or as just a one-off as you feel called. This is all done on my personal dime. I've never taken any kind of money for this, not because I didn't want to, but because we haven't reached enough people yet. However, we're doing our best to expand our audience. We've had folks like Paul Thurrott from Windows Weekly, Chris Perillo from Locker Gnome, from Vibe Coding fame, from um, his personal Twitch channel. If you're familiar with Chris, then you know he's a nut and is a great guy to have on the show. We've had Todd Ogasawara from the Mobile Views podcast and a few other folks that I've got lined up just waiting to get on the show. We are doing our best to make this show one of the absolute best that you can find on the internet. And $1, $2, anything that you can spare for as long as you can spare it would be wonderful as far as we're concerned. I'm not going to belabor this, but hey, we would really appreciate your support. And if you feel called, you can go ahead and make a donation to Chris at iTechGear.org. As I said, this is all coming out of my own pocket. So anything that you can go ahead and send us would be greatly appreciated. On behalf of Brother Joe McLaughlin, Mr. Chris Gavula, and Dr. Mr. Larry McJunkin, and myself, I'd like to say thanks. And now let's get back on to the rest of the show. And welcome back to the iTechGear Weekly, episode number 153. Not ready for prime time. And I want to go ahead and I want to get us into our Windows segment. At least initially here,
My goodness.
Microsoft has added and to keep along with the topic of AI, Microsoft has added a interesting toggle switch to turn on the use of agentic AI features in Windows 11, and I believe this
Preview
is more
build.
in their Canary and Dev Windows Insider circles. So,
That's
Joel,
what
what's
I'm
happening
saying.
here?
So there'll be a toggle to basically turn Windows 11 into an agentic AI OS, and it's designed to allow AI agents to take control of your PC. And I'm going to say to Microsoft, no, thank you.
Right.
Um,
Until they go ahead and they
right,
say, well, it's on by default and you can't turn it
right.
off.
So that's the thing. And it says in the other article, it says Microsoft just revealed how Windows 11 is evolving into an agentic OS. Finally, the explanation we've all been waiting for. I haven't been waiting for an explanation. I just don't want it. Quit forcing AI on us.
Well, yeah, and we're gonna talk about that a little bit
Yeah.
next, but
Yeah, I
but
mean, it's like, come on.
yeah,
Yeah,
Well,
I
and the
mean,
problem with the agentic support is obviously the AI tool you're using can take control. In their case, Copilot can take
right.
control of features and operations on your workstation. But it also kind of, if I remember correctly, it actually also opens it up to the back end of theirs, because remember, their stuff is not done on
Mhm.
board; it's
Right.
done
Not
in the
entirely.
cloud. It's
No.
done. It's done in part in the cloud. That means the cloud can also send commands and controls back to as part of its instruction set back. That is not great, in
No.
my
You know,
opinion.
it's one thing when people like the four of us push back on being having AI forced on us like this by Microsoft. But this has gotten into the user base, the people,
Yep.
the Billy Joe Bobs out there. I'm dealing every week with people who don't know a thing about technology,
yeah,
nothing. And their question is, why? I'm not going to do it. No, I'm going to go to Linux. Why is Microsoft making me do this and that?
yeah,
This is
Why
why
do I
this is
have
why
to
we're
use
seeing
this
that.
Or
Copilot? They don't even know
right,
what it is.
right. So
I've heard people have had conversations with their father, mother, former roommate, whoever. They
Mm-hmm.
were questioning what the hell's this Gemini button on on Google Chrome now, and they're like, "Well, it's built
Yeah,
into Google Chrome," and they're like, "I don't want it."
yeah,
It's
yeah.
like,
yeah, yeah,
sorry,
Well, it's like building that stupid Copilot button into all Office 365 apps.
yeah,
A lot of people are saying I don't want it.
right, yeah.
I
So
canceled my subscription, by the way.
which
You did.
brings
Sorry.
us to the Thanksgiving edition
Oh,
of the
good for
Oh,
us.
Microsoft Mistake-a-thon. Oh boy, kids. It's a really fabulous time here at the Microsoft Mistake-a-thon. We've got some wonderful things here, and here they are. Joel, spin that big wheel. Yeah. So we're going to go ahead and flip flop the first two stories here, and it just in order to keep with the AI theme here.
backlash.
Yeah, the backlash. Microsoft knows it's got a lot of work to do after the AI backlash. They are effectively forcing Copilot on everybody that
Everybody.
is using any version of Windows or Microsoft Office, and they're getting a lot of flack for it. Um, so
They should.
the Microsoft Windows lead Pavan Davuluri has commented on a recent backlash regarding the current state of direction of Windows. In a post on X, Davuluri acknowledges the recent comments from users and says that he and his team are taking in all the feedback. Wasn't that wonderful? They're taking in all the feedback.
Let me turn this shit off.
What's interesting to me, Chris,
Here's my
is that
feedback.
the complaint about these things and the stuff being forced out there, and the people we just said, who are leaving Windows because they can't deal with
Yeah.
this nonsense. Some of this is coming from longtime Windows pundits, which I find fascinating, who are actually
Yes.
starting to say they've considered other options because they're not happy with this. A
Right.
lot of people.
In fact, one of our most favorite and famous.
Paul Thurrott.
Yeah, he said much the same thing. I'm not happy with this. So, at least that's what I remember him saying. You know, he wasn't
yeah.
happy with this. So, especially since it's being forced on everyone, it's not a great idea that they're
that's
building
what's
this into the
disappointed
core of
everybody.
Windows.
Yeah.
So, but it just bothers me that they are doing this, and they are hell bent and set on doing this. Now, Pavaluri goes on to say in this post on X, he says, the team and I have taken in a ton of feedback. We balance what we see in our product feedback systems with what we hear directly. They don't always match, but both are important. I've read through the comments and see focus on things like reliability, performance, ease of use, and more. He's dancing around it. He's
Yeah,
dancing around it.
it's not that the direction they're going is wrong. It's correct. It's the methodologies that they're using to get there.
See, and I would even question
Enforcing
that.
this crap on us is not right.
I,
It's just
I, I
not.
would I would even go so far as to say that it's not necessarily the right way to. it's not necessarily the right thing to do. Build AI
Well,
into a consumer-based
yeah,
OS.
to me, it's part of the larger thing that they're
But
trying
you
to
could
do, which
make it
is sell.
optional if you
Hang on,
make it
hang on,
optional.
hang on. But it's part of the larger thing that they're trying to do, which is to basically force us to services and sell us services. They're
Yeah,
trying to make this
Microsoft
all a
has
subscription
wanted,
model. They want everything
yes,
to be one big subscription model, and
yes,
this is a
Microsoft has been
way.
trying to get everybody over to
Yeah,
Windows as a
this
service.
is a way to
Right.
force us to that.
Right. So,
Mhm.
for they've been trying to do that for over 10 years, Windows as a service, right? It's not necessarily, very, very much like Microsoft 3 or Office 365, the same
Yeah,
thing, right?
they
They
push
want
it to a
everybody to
service.
pay a monthly or a yearly fee to get into the operating system. Why? I bought the computer with the freaking operating system on it. Why is that no longer good enough?
Well,
I
again,
bought the OS in order to download it. Why is that
because
no longer good enough?
they saw that model work for all the mobile operating systems. We'll give you the basic thing, but we're going to sell you services on a regular basis, and they think that
Mhm.
that's how to do everything. And it's gonna get worse before it gets better, I think,
Well, they're looking at
unfortunately.
Apple and how much money they're making with services, and they're doing
Mhm.
it differently.
And they're not
Mhm.
forcing you to the
No,
No.
services for
no,
not
No,
they
literally,
aren't.
people
not
are
to pay.
running to get on that bandwagon.
They are.
You
They
know,
are running to get on that bandwagon, and it's largely because they have a choice. I can use this as it is and stick with the basic level of service, or I can enhance my level of service by buying a
But they
subscription.
make it a solution that's worth buying if it fits your use case. Point in case, Apple One. It
Yes.
works perfectly, and they have three different ways they can give it to you. One of those three probably fits.
Yep.
I mean, many of us have
probably,
that.
probably. But
Boy, they make a ton of money on that.
the point is you sure don't feel like it's being shoved down your throat,
No,
No,
whether
no,
you
no,
don't
no,
whether
because
no.
whether you want
you
it or not.
chose to go and get that service.
It's just
Okay.
a set of services in this case. Yeah,
Well,
true.
well, for Apple One, yes, it's a set of services.
Yeah,
But the
Hey,
point,
every now
though
and
that
then
I'm
they say,
making,
here's something new to go with it free. So
yeah, but the big piece to this though is that the base services, or the base service, the unpaid service, is still very usable, and in many cases, depending on your use, you don't need anything more. I bought the computer, I bought the device, I can use Apple Mail, I can use um um uh,
nobody puts more good stuff on a computer than Apple free.
yeah,
Nobody.
no, no. I mean,
well, let's be
they've
honest.
got
It's
their
not
Office
free.
suite,
That's
which is
why their stuff
Pages
costs a
and,
premium to begin with. I mean, that's part of why.
well,
You know,
there
you do
is
pay for it,
that. You
but the
do
point
pay a
is,
Yeah, yeah,
premium for the
you do.
product.
You're right. You're
You
right.
do pay a premium for the product, right? But even, and many Windows based computers are all budget based or consumer based. They're not high end machines. You can get a Windows based machine for as little as $200.
well,
All
what I
right.
think is going to be interesting is we're not talking about it in detail tonight or anything like that, but there's been a lot of speculation that Apple's going to release a very low end MacBook
Right.
that will the basic based on the phone chips that will basically sell in that $500 price point, which is really a sweet spot for low end Windows computers as well.
Yes.
So it's going to be interesting to see what happens if that comes out and when it comes out and what it does to the marketplace, because that opens up a lot of options for people who didn't want to pay, the Apple premium.
Right. And that it's supposed to run on an iPhone based chip, an A series
Yeah.
chip.
So
All
that's,
right.
you
It's
know,
supposed to run full blown Mac OS. All right. To the extent that it can, but it
but
runs Mac OS. All
yeah,
right.
but I don't want to dwell on that whole thing too much. I just
No,
want to
no,
point
but the
out the point
point
that
No.
is
there are options
it does
coming.
enough. The point is that it does
It does
enough
enough,
in
but
order
there's
to be
options
able to
coming.
provide the service.
And the point
Right.
is, there's options coming in that same price point that may or may not make more people leap off the Windows platform. It's going to be interesting to see what happens in the coming months.
All right. So from that perspective, I agree. But the whole point of this was that, forcing Copilot onto
Right.
everyone is not the
Absolutely
way to
true.
go.
It's not the way to go.
No, it's not the way to go. And with everybody moving back into the office, all right, forcing everybody to talk to their computer is going to make the office such a noisy place. You're not going to be able to get any work done.
No, I think
All
so.
right. And it's going to be very, very problematic. But again, that's just me. And speaking of Microsoft and their services,
Because we're not done yet, are we?
no, we're not.
No.
No, we're not. Microsoft 365 was down the day after the Cloudflare outage, which was on Wednesday of this past week. 365 went down. And, so again, we're citing our friends over at NeoWin, so it must be true. That there was a world Microsoft reported that they were investigating an issue where users may be unable to perform any action on files within Microsoft Copilot. All right, and additional information will be provided in the admin center under CP 1188020, which was the ticket number for this particular outage. And they did find an issue with an internal service that checks file permissions, causing users to user requests to fail. And they were investigating recent changes to the service, and effectively that they identified the issue, and then they went ahead and determined it was a network access policy. And then they went ahead and they resolved the issue, but it was out for a good little bit. It took them until about 8:30 p.m. on November 19th to get this thing unscrewed. So, and flying 5x5. So, the fact that this was down, the day after the big Cloudflare outage really sort of just says, Microsoft, could you have planned this, in a worse way?
For a moment there, you had a bit of a pause. I saw the big spinning wheel, and I thought maybe your brain was running on Windows 11 for a moment there.
Right.
No.
Well, they already broke it again.
Well,
because
and
there's more, isn't there, Chris? There's even more.
But wait, there's more.
Wait.
So this I think has really been. I've noticed this, and this is not just since July. This has been a problem where for a long time. This process has been busted for a long time. Microsoft, though, has finally admitted that it broke Windows. They say this past July, all right, where the shutdown and update process.
Update and shutdown.
Update and whatever. Shutdown and update.
Yeah.
Update and shutdown.
Shut down this.
All right. Thank you. All right. Is it? But this Joel, what's going on here? Talk to me about this. I mean, I'm getting a little too ahead of myself.
Yeah, their issue with the decade-old update and shutdown bug. This week, NVIDIA was forced to release a driver, a hotfix to address the Windows 11 performance regressions in gaming. Now, Microsoft has confirmed that several core Windows 11 features are broken, and they have been since July.
So they fixed. Let's be clear. The update and shutdown fix didn't happen in July. They fixed it.
Right. And it's been around for more than 10 years. It's been around. That bug has been around for more than 10 years.
And they finally fixed it.
506-2553.
Yes.
And so and now they're acknowledging they created or had another problem beginning in July with basically gaming and NVIDIA drivers and things like that.
Yes, right. But it was this bug that they said they squashed. All right, this decade-long update and shutdown bug that they said that they squashed that caused the driver problems, the NVIDIA driver problems, and the gaming issues. So, it's bad enough.
I didn't get the impression that it was that particular bug, but it was part of that whole service update.
It was part
it
of
wasn't
that
necessarily the bad bug.
Part of that.
I love this in the article. It says Microsoft has faced major backlash from developers and power users over their plans to make Windows an AI-powered agentic OS. Company believes that delivering AI-powered experience will boost productivity and give users a better user experience. If Microsoft truly believes this, they are delusional. Because they're spending more time adding this AI BS
that nobody wants.
They are fixing the OS
that nobody asked for.
Right.
But they're not.
But
they should be fixing things.
I actually think there's a systemic problem here, more than we're looking at.
Yeah.
Every other thing that we report on
Yep.
It's Microsoft knows it broke it. Microsoft knows it has a lot of work to do. What do you do with an employee that comes that keeps breaking things and keeps saying, "I'm sorry, I know I broke it."
Fire them.
You take their red
Does he have
stapler
a
and you
job
send them
very
to the
long?
basement. That's what you do. You take their red
You're
stapler and you
there's
send
a
them to the
problem
basement.
here. And Microsoft says that
No,
every
no,
week about
no, Chris.
something.
Chris, you
Yeah.
fix the glitch. That's what you do. You fix the glitch.
Oh,
According to Office Space, you fix the glitch.
thank
you
you.
must be one of the Bobs.
Must be one of the Bobs.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Larry. Go ahead.
No,
So-
I'm just saying they
You're
have a
right.
problem.
In the very
Yeah.
end of
Right.
the article, it says there's a reason why PC gamers are drawn to Steam OS. Well, no doy.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's a better gaming platform and operating
Yeah.
system. You know, Windows.
Thanks to
I'll tell you
Linux.
that there's been a lot of Windows systems that have been Windows gaming systems or handheld gaming systems that have been released within the last few years. The Lenovo Legion Go, and the Legion Go 2, the Asus ROG. There's one from Microsoft that's Xbox based. And Windows as a gaming platform is starting to gain some, pardon my use of the word, steam, in that it's proving to be somewhat popular. It's largely because again, everybody is so familiar with it. However, when Windows 11 has problems like this, when you're forcing features that will take up much needed RAM that could be probably better used towards gaming services or games period, when you are building in things that are breaking the operating system in terms of upgrading graphical drivers or other features, there's a problem. You need to change the paradigm that you're using in order to design features because it's obviously not working well.
Well, and you know what? We should add as we talk about this because this affected gaming a lot too. All these series of updates,
Mhm.
game and other gaming platforms. They're not always running them on Windows. SteamOS is running a lot of them now, and there's a lot of things out there as to how you change though, which is really what it is, right?
Right.
But there's a lot of conversations about how you change some of these handheld Windows-based devices over to running SteamOS and not running Windows anymore.
Yeah,
There's
I know
a lot of conversations along that front. I mean,
Yeah.
and I think but I think that's going to happen even more because we didn't put it on the big wheel, but they made another mistake in that they increased the price of the Xbox Game Pass Ultimate from
They did.
$19.99 to $29.99 with very little information being sent
without
to users
really
before they
informing
did it.
anybody, right?
And they
Right.
just started billing people at the higher price. And it's like, excuse me. And I, for one, dropped the subscription. So
Drop the
I'm not even
service,
looking.
yeah.
I am not even looking at anything related to Microsoft for my gaming at this point.
Yeah.
I'm walking
I mean-
away from it because I'm tired of this.
Yeah,
mean,
no,
I'm-
I get it, and you're
Yep.
and you're right.
I'm very interested in gaming. I have games that I would like to run on my Mac that I can't run on my Mac, namely usually games from Good Old Games because
Yeah,
they're
gotcha.
reliant on Windows platform. All right.
Old Windows drivers too.
Yeah.
Yes. So I still have, in fact, my Mac sitting on top of my old Windows gaming laptop. I don't ever turn it on because it gets so freaking hot. And that's an Intel problem.
Yeah.
But I've long been kind of looking at these things like the Legion Go, and I think somebody else, MSI has one too. A few
There's
others.
some limitations to them, but they're
But I
interesting.
have no
I would say.
desire to get them. I'm probably gonna look more towards the Steam Deck, and and then just to heck with the things that I can't run on it. Like
Yeah.
like the Good Old Game stuff. At least I can run the stuff I bought on Steam, or maybe even the EA
Sure.
Game Store.
Yeah.
So
I find this a little rather frustrating, to be very, very honest. Microsoft has got a long and tough row to hoe with all of this, in my opinion.
Yeah.
The way that they are running all of this really just kind of bothers me. All right. They could do so much more. They could do, they could be a heck of a lot better at this. And if
Mhm.
they
And they
would
used to
get-
be.
and they used to be, all right, they used to be. It's unfortunate that they have gone this route, but
Yeah. And they seem to be very tone deaf when it's brought before them. It's like they're not listening, or if they're listening, they tune it out or something. La 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 or something like
well,
that.
they say that they're listening. It's really not. And here's
Yeah, but they're listening the way that customer service people will say, "Have I provided you good customer service?" And they don't listen to what you're telling them. They're like, "Yeah, but have I provided you good customer service?" No, you haven't. And I feel that way with Microsoft.
no, you
And
haven't
You're not
because
really
I still
listening.
Yep.
because I still
A
work
lot like
with the
GM's
damn problem.
executives. Yep.
Yeah, you're not really listening.
Yep.
No,
It's a lot like GM's executives in my email back to
Yes.
them. You know,
Yes.
they're like, "Oh, well, we're sorry," and it's like,
no, you're not.
Not
If you
really.
were,
if
then
were
you do
sorry, you'd
something about
something
it.
about it. You
yeah,
know,
it's like
Well,
you know,
and we all know, as long as in all these cases, as long as they keep making money, they're not going to change anything.
right.
As long as they're making money.
Correct. As long as they are making the
that's-
money that they're making, they're not going to change.
And
They
Microsoft
just won't.
is making the money, and GM is making the money. As long as it keeps going, nobody will change
Agreed.
anything.
I agree. They aren't going to.
Oh.
They aren't going to change anything until it hits their pocketbook. You know,
Until it hits their
until
pocketbook.
it pinches them in the wallet.
Oh.
But that's
Well,
just,
then let's go on to something more pleasant.
can we?
Yeah, I think we can.
Maybe.
Guys, I would like to move us to our tip of the week segment.
That's more pleasant.
It is and it's been very pleasant for me because this guy that I know,
This guy,
this
We all
Larry
gotta have a
this
guy.
Larry Magickin guy, right?
Larry
we got a
Magickin.
guy.
Yes. Yes, he's written me all these tips and I love them.
So
All
are
right,
you
but
telling me that he gave you a Happy Meal? Is
he
that what you're telling
did. He did, and the prize was tips. Oh, plenty.
Mm-mm.
Nice.
It was kind of
Tips, oh,
weird that
plenty.
he's writing tips for me since I
That's
over
right.
the years
He used
wrote
to write them
so
for
many
me.
for you.
Oh my goodness.
You know what's really
Okay.
weird? I used to pay you. Are you paying me?
In compliments.
You know what?
and
There's something to be
gratitude.
said
Yes,
for that.
I get that.
So, but before we
What do
get
we
to the
got?
actual, before we get to the actual tip, I want to remind everybody that iTechGear was founded with the intent of making technology easier for everyone to use and understand, and that this team specifically has dedicated much of their writing careers to that specific purpose. And each week, we're going to have a technology-based tip on some level of computing topic, authored by one of our experienced editors. And if you've got questions, concerns, comments, and yay, dare I say, ideas, could you please do us a favor and send those over to tips@itechgear.org? And if you do, and we use your idea on the air, we're going to go ahead and give you your 15 seconds worth of fame and say thank you very much. This week's tip is all about adjusting your screen brightness and your text size. Larry says, staring at a computer screen all day can cause eye strain, and boy, can it. Adjusting brightness and text size helps reduce fatigue and make things easier to use. And your screen should be bright enough to read clearly, but not so bright that it hurts your eyes, especially in a dark room. Most computers and browsers let you increase text size, and that's usually done with a control plus or a control minus, which is helpful if you find yourself squinting. And dark mode is another option many people prefer because it reduces glare. Instead of black text on a bright white background, you've got white text on a black background, which is a lot easier to read in the dark. And you should be experimenting with these settings until you find a comfortable balance for yourself. Protecting your eyes isn't just about comfort. It also makes you more productive since you can work longer without strain to your eyes. So check out dark mode, check out increasing your text size, and do it without affecting the entire operating system like Microsoft suggested last week. So
Nice.
yes, but that is our tip of the week. Adjust screen brightness and text size to make it easier for you to get your work done. So I'm going to move us now to our pick of the week segment, and I want to go ahead and take just a moment to let everybody know and remind everyone that our show picks are typically hardware, software, and other items of interest that we have individually purchased and that we actually use and that we like enough that we want to recommend them to you, our growing listener base. These aren't paid advertisements or any kind of items that we have any kind of affiliated marketing relationship with. If they were, the editorial policy over at iTechGear.org indicates that we have to let you guys know that up front. These are really just things that we sincerely believe in, and we bring them to you at the end of each show. Why?
Because we like you.
There you go.
So,
Joel, you've got the pick this week, and what have you got?
yes. Well, as everyone knows, I love to go out hiking and rucking, and our rucking group is continuing to do this throughout some pretty nasty cold weather. So one of the things that during a retreat my church had, which I camped out overnight, I used those little chemical hand warmer things, and I thought there's got to be something better than that because they didn't really work that great.
Well, yeah, and once they're they start to cool off, they're done.
That's right. So I did a search on now. Sam's Club has some similar devices, but they wanted like $40 for them. So I thought, there's got to be something cheaper, and I was right. Amazon had now. This is the hugely long thing because I'm sure these are made in China. But the full description says AI hand warmers, rechargeable 2-pack AI smart chips, electric hand warmers, 20 hours long, safe, heat, portable pocket heater, gifts for Christmas, outdoor hunting, golf, camping, accessories. That's the whole thing. All right, so it says AI hand warmers rechargeable 2 is what I call it in the show notes. Let me preface this. There's no way these things have AI in them. They don't. Sorry, no.
Well, it's the new buzzword, right? It's the new buzzword. So,
but
it's
the nice
everything.
thing here is they can Larry and Chris can see this, but these are them, and they slide together. And they connect together, and then they slide apart. Okay, you got a little button on them, and you press it, and it turns on. Press them, and it turns on.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Okay.
You see one little red light. All right, so that's the lowest level, and then you press it, and as you press it, and light up more lights.
You get up to 3.
Get more up to 3, and it increases the temperature every time you make a light bright. Light up one more light.
Mm-hmm.
So like one light is low, and it'll go up to 20 hours, and the temperature is between 95 and 107 degrees Fahrenheit. 2 makes it 104 to 118 degrees Fahrenheit, and that's for up to 14 hours. And 3 will do 118 to 130 Fahrenheit for up to 8.5 hours.
Which is still longer than the chemical ones.
Oh, by far.
Oh, absolutely.
By far.
And folks, you can't see this, but it reminds me of what the old pagers used to look like in terms of its size and shape.
Yep.
Yeah.
Very similar.
And
8 hours is you shouldn't be out in the cold for 8 hours anyway.
Yep.
So
No, and they're rechargeable.
If you're camping or something, you might be. Yeah.
Right.
yeah.
And they're rechargeable too, and they're small enough that you can have more than one set. So
nice, very nice.
So
and they remind me of a song by the Police too. Yeah, because you can turn on the red light.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, but they also said don't stand so close to me. But that's not the point.
But it does come with, unlike some devices, it comes with a cable.
Okay.
And it's a USB-A on one side, and it's got 2 USB-Cs on the other side, and you just
split, plug them in, right? But it's a split.
Charge them both at the same time.
Yeah,
cool.
you
charge them both at the same time from one USB port. And they are currently, the black ones only, are currently only $16.99 on Amazon. And if you don't like black, well, they have other colors. They have like a blue-gray, bronze, white, champagne, dark green. Actually, the dark green ones look pretty sharp. Green, pink, purple, and sky blue. And you basically The black ones are $16.99. The rest of them range from $19.99 to $23.99. The ones I saw over at Sam's Club, the only differences there is these are a lot smaller than those ones, and those ones I saw at Sam's Club that were $40 actually can also be a battery bank as well. But these, I didn't care about that because I already have one of those.
Right.
So these are small enough. Like I said, you can just stick them in your pockets, put and turn them on, and then put your hands in the pocket. I guess you can, if you really wanted to, you can stick them in your gloves too, probably. But I like them. And they're pretty handy. It hasn't really been cold enough to really have me want to have them with me yet. But it will get that way. The only thing better than this would be, and this is a trend I'm seeing, and I've seen them at several stores. In fact, my wife wants one, is those heated jackets. But I'm not a fan of those. But these I am a fan of. I think they're pretty handy. So
yeah, my daughter's got a problem. My daughter has a problem with her hands, worse than I do. Her hands get cold, and she's got a lot of problems getting warmth back into them and getting circulation back. And so and the solution for her is to have some level of hand warmer, whether it's the chemical ones or something like this. She needs
one thing you might want to add to that, as with any hand warmer, kind of use a little bit of hand cream first, because dry heat, you're going to crack your fingertips and all those bad things.
You'll need to moisturize.
Yep. And the kind of the way it works too is the main frame is plastic, but this section right here where you can see my finger on the in the camera, that's actually aluminum. So that's the part that gets
That's
hot.
where the heat's conducted. That's
where the heat's conducting.
Right.
Okay.
The backside it doesn't, and like I said, they just kind of slide back and forth together. So like when you're storing them, you can store it like that.
But still, you can buy a lot of stuff these days for $16.
$16, and like I said,
well, $16.99. So $17.
And if you want longer than 8.5 at the top heat level, buy another set. You still are under the cost of the ones I saw at Sam's Club. So
So there you go.
There you go.
And that's a Black Friday deal actually as well.
The $16.99 is the Black Friday deal. Nice.
Yep. 43% off.
So nice. Little bit early. So there you go, kids.
Yep.
And that, as we say in the biz, is the show. This has been the iTechGear Weekly, episode number 153, Not Ready for Prime Time. Recorded live Sunday, November 23rd, 2025, live from iTechGear Central for Mr. Chris Gavula, Brother Joe McLaughlin, and Dr. Mr. Larry McJunkin. This is Christopher Spera saying, hey, we will see you next time.
And happy Thanksgiving.
Yes.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.